Hi, if you don't know me already, my name is Ken Stone, and the focus of our video, our time together today, is to do a little bit of meditating and then drop into transmission, all in the context of a silent experience and one that is really focused on uncovering a deeper experience of the divine within for you, within you. And one of the ways that you can come to this experience, if this is your first time of sitting in a circle with me, is really just to set everything else aside. I don't just mean energetically, emotionally, and physically, though those are important areas to set aside. I also mean with regard to the things that you're thinking about, the things that you're focused on, the areas that you might be holding in tension or outcomes that you're wishing were different or other things that you're hoping to influence in your life. And if you can, just set all of those aside. Just let them go, allow them to leave your awareness entirely. In doing so, you open up to an even deeper experience of the divine within from my perspective. And one of the reasons for that is that there's no noise between your direct encounter with the divine and your central nervous system and the things that you're opening up to experience. In other words, you're turning inward to have this deeper experience of who you really are without putting any expectations on it, without trying to make it any particular thing. And I think if you do that, you'll find that something perhaps very different than anything you've ever experienced before can begin to unfold for you. I want to take a moment to say hi and thank those that are checking in and on the live stream here. Sorry, I'm losing my ability to process information with words because I'm already dropping into into where we're headed. Angelica's checking in. It's wonderful to be with you, and Judy is checking in as well. Wonderful to be with you both, and everyone who's gathered here. I'll try to make a point of saying hi and acknowledging and responding to anyone who wants to check in. And if there are any questions, perhaps we'll have some time to address those before we wrap up today. But really, our focus today is to be in silence together, to meditate as we open our time up here in just a moment, and then drop deeper into transmission. And if you don't understand what those words mean, don't worry about it. In fact, it doesn't really matter if you understand anything that I say. The focus is not what I'm communicating with words. The focus here is what is unfolding or enlivening within you. And all I'm doing is just being with the various ways that the divine, by whatever name, expresses through me when I sit with others. So I'm just opening up to that experience within me and being consciously aware of it as I sit with you. And you'll know when we head into transmission because I'll use the words, let's begin. Gary, it's wonderful to hear from you as well. And for everyone who's watching the replay, if there are things that are coming up and that you'd like to comment on or ask questions about or so on, I certainly welcome your comments as well. So I've already, if you have your eyes open, you know this, I've already closed my eyes because I want to sink in now and let go of all of this, all of these words so that we can be in resonance. Resonance is one way of describing, from my perspective, the experience of the divine within. And what does that mean? It's very individual. For me, the experience of that resonance comes in physically, emotionally, spiritually, in lots of different ways. And the more I sit and integrate and embody that experience, the more it floods throughout every aspect of my life. But here's the key: I don't have to direct it, don't have to make it be something in particular, because the way I like to say it is the divine is underneath everything else. It's in all of us, no matter who we are, no matter where we're coming from, our perspective, the color of our skin, any of that stuff, any of the things that we think make us different from one another. The divine is equally within each of us. And I'd like to share an experience of that with you. So thank you for gathering today and for this opportunity to sit in resonance with you. If it's comfortable for you, I just invite you to close your eyes, begin breathing in and out through the nostrils, and have your palms towards the sky if it's comfortable for you. It's a wonderful receiving position, posture. That is, if it's comfortable for you. And of course, setting everything else aside energetically, emotionally, physically, and otherwise. As always, please don't operate a motor vehicle or heavy equipment of any sort during this or any time we're together. There are two reasons. Number one, it's not safe to do so. You never know when you're going to drop out. Lots of people over the years have said, when I'm in session with you, Ken, I go to sleep. And then they also say things like, and somehow I hear right at the end when you say, let's return the universal plug, I'm bringing this transmission to a close, which I think is just a little clue. Probably you're not asleep, but who cares what we call it? If you were driving a car and that happened, it wouldn't be safe for you or anyone else on the road. So just set it all aside and be present. Give yourself the gift of your own presence and whatever unfolds. And let's do a little bit of breathing, shall we? Deep breath in and hold. And then as you begin releasing this breath all the way out to the count of 8, just invite you to let go of everything that has come before in this day, all the way out to the count of 8. And whatever your tempo is for breathing and being is perfect. In fact, whatever the experience is that's unfolding for you is absolutely perfect. Some people report feeling a sense of resonance, a buzzing or tingling in various parts of their body. I feel that in my hands and feet and the crown of my head and so on when have the opportunity to sit with others. Maybe you'll feel that. But whether you do or don't, it's not the important thing. The important thing is just to be present with whatever comes up. Sometimes that can be an extraordinary amount of grief. And if it is, just let yourself cry or wail or whatever, however that emotion expresses through you. Sometimes it's physical discomfort. Allow yourself to feel that. Don't try to put a limit on it. Just let it be expressed fully. Sometimes it's laughter. Sometimes it's absolutely nothing. The point, whatever is going on for you, is perfect. No need to change anything. Just be fully in your experience, whatever it is. Another deep breath in. Hold. And as you begin releasing this breath now, letting go of everything that has come before since the year started, all the way out to the count of 8. Doesn't matter when you're watching this video, and you may already be dropping out. You already may be thinking, is he even talking anymore? Just be with what is unfolding. Another way of saying this is that oftentimes in our lives we have this idea, I need to think this out, I need to understand, and I need to be able to feel it for it to be real. And yet the love and peace of God's presence, divine presence, whatever name you want to put on it, it is everywhere and in everyone and everything, including you. And rather than looking outside of ourselves to find it, I'm just inviting you to turn inward first through this very simple breathing process, and then some meditation, and then transmission. Another deep breath in. Hold to the count of 4. And as you begin releasing this breath now out to the count of 8, letting go of everything that has come before since you were born, all the way out to the count of 8. Let go of your idea of what the peace of God feels like, or what it would mean to encounter it or experience it, or even what divine presence is, or unconditional love, or any concept. Just be fully with the experience as it unfolds within you. Another deep breath in and hold. And as you begin releasing this breath now, letting go of everything that has come before since the inception of your soul, all the way out to the count of 8. And just become aware of that cue of breath in front of your face. You breathe in a unit of breath, it is replaced by another in the cue. The breath flows in to support and serve every aspect of you without qualification or condition. It doesn't matter what you've done to other people or what's been done to you. It doesn't matter your gender, your ethnic, your sexual identity, your orientation, the color of your skin, your political beliefs. None of it matters. The breath comes in to support and serve you fully. And notice in the cue a color beginning to infuse itself. Perhaps it's a fixed color or dynamic, changing. If you're assigning a color in your mind's eye, perhaps you could pick something not normally present in your body, except perhaps in your eyes. And with the next breath in, be with the breath from the perspective of the color as it flows in through the nostrils, up towards the crown, and then down into the lungs. Remaining in the lungs, in your mind's eye, as you move time forward very gently. And notice as this color begins to infuse itself to the lining of the lungs and then moves through the lining of the lungs into the bloodstream and then eventually into each and every cell in the body. The breath is becoming you, and you are becoming the breath. And when you're ready, shifting perspective from inside the lungs, then looking down on yourself, and then eventually down on the planet. Notice The breath of the planet is serving you and your neighbor and your neighbor's neighbor, and out it flows from there throughout the geographic region, the state or the province, all the way out to the continent or the island or the hemisphere, and eventually to the entire planet. With each breath, you are connected to each and every person directly. And notice the breath is just illuminating that essential connection, an outward sign, an outward point of recognition of that essential connection that exists between us all. So, this connection is not a pathway for you to take on other people's stuff or endorse their perceptual beliefs or any of that. It's just an essential reflection of the foundational connection that exists between us all. And notice the breath doesn't just serve people, it serves everything and everyone. And so we can say with each breath, you are connected to everyone and everything above, upon, and within the planet itself, without exception. Eventually, as your awareness begins to expand, the breath of the planet becomes the breath of the cosmos. And with that, an awareness that with each breath that you draw in and each breath that you release, you are directly connected to everyone and everything throughout all of creation, including that energy that underwrites everything else, the divine, a light that perhaps originates on the far side of the cosmos. Yet with each breath that you draw in, that light moves closer and closer until eventually it is close enough that you can perceive those twin frequencies that together comprise and expresses the divine light. The frequency of the divine itself and the frequency of perfect health intertwined such that there is no separating one from the other. Where one is present, so too the other. And perfect health, not just as we understand it as human beings, physical health, emotional, spiritual, and so on, every iteration of perfect health, known and unknown. The light eventually connecting in to each and every aspect of you, perhaps initially at the nostrils and then instantaneously to each and every aspect, the smallest expression of you, known and unknown, the invitation extended from that light to each of those individual aspects of you. Come, return to your natural state of resonance and alignment. With that, you may even feel the artifacts of dissonance falling away, gathering at that universal drain, a sense of resonance moving throughout your entire being. For whatever remains in separation, I invite you to remove the universal plug. I'll do the same. The divine is becoming you, and you are becoming the divine. Let's begin. If ever there were a time to set aside your ideas, your wishes, your intentions, it's now. And turn instead from the thoughts or the feelings that have dominated in your awareness in recent hours or days or months or years, and turn inward to that profound wellspring of divine presence, however you begin to encounter it. And should it be helpful, should your mind wander, should an experience of the past projected into the future, or a preoccupation with something that you have experienced or lived in the past come into your awareness and not release, just remind yourself, with each breath, you are connected to everyone and everything, and the river is flowing. The river is flowing. The river is flowing. As these waves of resonance move through your being, you may feel buzzing, tingling, other physical sensations, warmth. Some people feel like they're getting cold. It just shows up in many different ways. I can feel these moving through the collective because my hands will start buzzing, and that generally is an indication of the things that are in the physical, in the world of form, coming into a state of resonance. But however that unfolds in your awareness and your experience, just be fully with it. If there's anything that is still occupying your awareness at the level of attachment or wishes or desires, intentions, the invitation here is really just to release that completely. The opportunity that comes with that is to move into a much deeper state of flow, of resonance, of embodied resonance, a much deeper experience of the ancient wisdom as above, so below. That is to say, as we move below into deeper resonance, everything else can't help but eventually begin to reflect that. But only if we turn inward, only if we go below. It can be very counterintuitive to let go of those kinds of thoughts or wishes, intentions, visualizations, and so on. It's a new experience of freedom when you do. And it's available for you whenever you're ready. The river is flowing. be fully with whatever's coming up, emotionally, physically, or otherwise. To resist it or hold it at bay is to stop it from being transmuted, whereas to allow yourself to feel it fully is to transmute whatever that is coming up, which in turn opens up an even deeper experience of divine presence and the resonance that flows as a result through every aspect of your being, your body, your mind, your presence, your life, the world. But rather than focusing on any of those aspects of you or what's going on out there in the world, just be here inside at depth. The river is flowing. With each breath, you are connected to everyone and everything in the cosmos. The light, the twin frequencies connecting into each of the smallest aspects of you, the invitation, the artifacts of dissonance falling away, the flood of resonance spreading throughout your entire being. The river is flowing. The divine is becoming you, and you are becoming the divine. From my perspective, this is one of the most meaningful things we could do together. To sit, to open up to an experience of the divine within, and to resonate there, to be completely present. It's an extraordinary thing to open to, and all the more extraordinary when we sit in circle together, and certainly all the more extraordinary because you're here. And I just want to thank you for the honor and the privilege of sitting with you and being together in this way. Feel a few things shifting around, the energy starting to move in a little bit different direction. Before we wrap up, I want to just open my eyes and check in a little bit and see if anyone has said hi or reflected on their experience. If you're wanting to conclude with this part of the transmission here, I just invite you to return the universal plug, knowing the transmission will come to a close. Otherwise, we'll spend just a few more minutes together before we formally wrap up and close transmission. My eyes sticking together, some tears coming out. Julie, so grateful to meet today. Grateful for the opportunity to sit with you, Julie. It's such a wonderful reset to be together, even virtually in this way, through this live stream or through this replay. You'll notice that if you're part of the live stream and if you have time and you're intrigued to watch the video again, you can, once we're done, you can go back and when you have a few minutes, hit start and you'll discover something different unfolds. And the reason for that is that I'm not really doing anything here. I'm simply opening up to the way the divine expresses through me, which enlivens that presence within you. But the connection really exists between you and the divine. And so that is unfolding live anytime you experience it. It's a live transmission anytime you experience it. Let's see, Susan shares something. If only I could take you with me when the ego gets distressed. Yeah. Anytime we drift into an experience of separation, that can bring about that sense of unease, and whether it's a function of fear or desire for control or just uncertainty stepping into the unknown. And the thing to remember, of course, is that this experience that we're having together, although it may be amplified in some way that's sort of difficult for any of us to articulate, it's not me that's doing this. This is really the divine through me, or the divine in you that is enlivening and amplifying this experience. And so that's always with you. And I know you know this, Susan, and I'm just reminding us all, I think it's an important thing to remember that when we have, as part of a practice, a spiritual practice, sitting in resonance and opening into that, maybe it's once a day or even a couple times, maybe even 3 times a day. When we open to that, it begins to integrate and embody in a more and more complete way. And initially, there may be a sharp contrast between the distress or the challenge of life. But over time, what we can begin to experience is that that deep resonance is always there. And one way that can be kind of interesting to call that forward is just to remember that the river is flowing. If you have that conscious kind of remembering throughout the day, if you've been sitting in circle, practicing divine connecting breath, or actually in deeper transmission, that anchored experience of who you really are, that becomes the reference point rather than the exception. And as it integrates in a deeper and deeper way, it expands through more aspects of our lives. And what a beautiful process that is. It's a process I think we're all going through, even though it might be difficult to recognize that or to see that in others. I really believe deeply that we're all going through that process together. We start these live streams with this idea that it's going to be a quick moment together, and I always want to be honoring of your time and the opportunity to sit and so on. And then, and then I look at the clock and I think, my goodness, here we are, 40 minutes together. Here's another comment coming in. Earth is waking up. Thank you, Ken. I was just in a chilly river an hour ago. So the thought of it, so thought it was interesting to hear you mention the flowing of the river a few times. Yeah. Yeah. It's an image that comes to me over and over again, like sitting next to a river. It's, if we think about the awareness of divine connecting breath, And with each breath, we're connected to everyone, everything, the cosmos, the divine light. It's sort of like sitting next to a river. You could sit next to a river and the river's flowing, and you could hold an intention. River, flow downhill. There it is, flowing downhill. And then you could drop the intention. Still, the river flows. Still, with each breath, you are connected to everyone, everything, the divine, etc. You can turn your back on the river. You can walk away, forget of the experience of the profound peace of sitting next to the river. Still, the river flows. Still, with each breath, you are connected. The divine becoming you, you becoming the divine. That's why that imagery for me comes up over and over again. And there are other reasons as well. So beautiful to share this space with you and with everyone here, whether you've had a chance to check in or not, or you're just in that silent inner space. I'm so appreciative for the opportunity to share just a little bit of the way that God expresses through me and the gifts that express in that space with you in service to your relationship with divinity by whatever name, that you might open more fully to that experience within you, might come to a deeper encounter of that, deepen your relationship with it, the integration and embodiment of that love and peace and all the other expressions of resonance. And ultimately, of course, then discover those unique aspects of divine expression as you, your gifts, so to speak, your message, your mission as a spiritual messenger, for I believe we all are that. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit here, uh, for sharing space. If there are comments coming up that you'd like to leave and reflect on the experience, I'll do my best to interact with every single person who comments on the video, whether it's when we're together or in between our time. And I always look forward to the chance to sink in a little bit, to sit and resonate with you. For now, I invite you to begin returning the universal plug. I'll do the same as I begin bringing this transmission to a close. May the peace and love that surrounds us all, that is our innate expression and being, continue to reveal itself in you, through you, as you, with each breath that you take, with each thought that you hold, with each action that you endeavor in your life, and all the ways that you serve and support and love those, not only those that you know, but those you encounter as you walk through life. Plug all the way in, transmission to a close now, until we're together again very soon. Peace.